And knowing that 3.8 million people have been diagnosed with diabetes in the UK, but a lot of people are still not aware of what it is and how it affects us. So for that, I have a guest joining me, as I have introduced, Emma Alvin. Please welcome. Hi, hello, Emma.
Hi there, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Oh, good afternoon. It's all my pleasure. Thank you for coming and joining me. Yes, you are here and you're going to tell us why diabetes patients should take up the offer of a coronavirus vaccine.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Tell
as
us a
you,
little bit about yourself first before
yeah, okay, sure.
we go further. So do give us your introduction and what kind of role you play in this um, area.
Yeah, so I'm a senior clinical advisor at Diabetes UK. My background is as a registered dietitian. So I worked in the NHS in a community diabetes team before coming to Diabetes UK.
Wow.
Um, and as a charity, we provide lots of information for people with diabetes around all sorts of topics, such like food and the sort of healthcare that people should get. And we also have a dedicated helpline for people with diabetes that they can call in and get advice from our counsellors if they've got any questions or concerns. And we do lots of kind of lobbying for people with diabetes and advocacy work as well.
So at the moment, obviously you're doing all this. Is it a way anyone can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so if they go onto our website, so diabetes.org.uk, that's one way of starting to get some of the information from us. And we also have a helpline, which I can tell you the telephone number for that helpline as well. People can phone and speak to our advisors. So that's 0345 123 2399 is our Diabetes UK helpline number. We also have a range of different forums as well that you can access through our website.
Okay, that's fantastic. Good to know, because there is, it's amazing how many people have diabetes and they need the help, but they're not so sure. And during this pandemic, it's kind of very difficult to even have access to appointments. Things are getting a bit better, so it's looking a bit brighter. But even then, we're still in the same situation where it's hard to get that help like we used to get. So why is it important for people with diabetes to get the coronavirus vaccine? Why do you think it's more important?
So unfortunately, we know that people with diabetes have been disproportionately affected by this pandemic. If they do catch coronavirus, they're more likely to suffer with a severe illness from getting the virus. And also, sadly, they're at increased risk of death if they do catch the virus as well. It doesn't mean that they're at any higher risk of catching the virus in the first place, but if they do get it, they're more likely to be quite severely unwell. And we know that the vaccines are one of the most effective ways of stopping that from happening. So I would really encourage people when they get their invite to go ahead and book their vaccine, get their vaccine. We know that it's safe. It's been very rigorously tested, and it will help to protect you and your family and your community from getting severe illness.
Yeah, and whoever is listening and watching this program, I really encourage that the information you are hearing from firsthand from Emma this afternoon, that you must kind of spread or pass it on to your friends and family, especially with the ones who are suffering from diabetes. It is so important, more than ever before. So for that, obviously, you are here to tell us. So do you think for diabetes as a patient especially, do you think these vaccines are safe?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So the vaccine, we know the vaccine has been rolled out quite a bit more quickly than perhaps other vaccines might have been, but that's mainly because there's been a concerted kind of effort from globally, from researchers, scientists, industry have all pulled together on a global scale to make sure that we can get this vaccine rolled out quickly. And it's still been through the same kind of rigorous testing process and approvals process that it normally would. It's just that process has been speeded up. We know that the vaccine was tested on a range of different age groups, both men and women, and it was also tested on people with different health conditions, including diabetes. So it is safe, and as I said, it has been through the same rigorous sort of approvals process that it normally would. It's just that there's been less barriers to getting it rolled out because there's been funding behind it, and the scientific and industry communities have all come together globally to make sure it can be rolled out.
Yeah, just a quick question on that. You know how diabetes, now there is type 1 and type 2. Does it matter which type you are that you should definitely have it, or one is more important than the other?
No, so it doesn't matter what type of diabetes you have. People with all types of diabetes are now being called to get their vaccine. So all adults with diabetes should go and have their vaccine. We know there are different types of diabetes, but can be all equally as serious and can all lead to the same health complications if they're not kind of managed in an appropriate way, and people get that support to manage their condition. We know that everybody can live long and healthy lives, and one of the key things at the moment is looking after yourselves during a pandemic and taking that off as a vaccine as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter which bracket of diabetes you are, like you said. So, you know how they have these vaccines, you said they are safe, but how they have been developed so quickly. Can you shed a few lines on that?
I think it's mainly because it has been a global effort. So we've seen researchers, scientists, the industry and governments from across the world have all pulled together and put funding behind this to make sure that the vaccine has been a priority. We know that a lot of other research has been put on hold to make sure that this particular vaccine and the coronavirus pandemic as a whole can be prioritized. And so that's really the main reason why it's come out so quickly. It's because it's been that kind of pulled together concerted effort.
Which is fantastic. And you know, with when can these people with diabetes especially expect to get the vaccine, or have they already started to get them?
Yes, so people with diabetes are in group 6 of vaccine prioritization, and that means that they should have been started to be invited from around the middle of February. So some people with diabetes will have had their vaccine already, because they come into that cohort of people living with a health condition. So if you haven't had your vaccine yet, look out for your invite, and when you do get invited, make sure you book in your appointment. It might come from your GP surgery or from a local vaccine hub, but make sure you book in that appointment.
So it has to be through an invite. It's not something. Is there another way? Could you book an appointment if this you are under 6? Did you say stage
Group
6?
6.
Group 6. Sorry.
So I believe it's mostly via invite, but there is some variation locally. So if you haven't heard anything, it might be worthwhile getting in touch with your GP surgery just to find out when you're likely to be called for a vaccine. But my understanding is that most people will be invited. There's an invitation process.
Okay, so there is an invitation process, but if in case one is concerned, you can call up the GP surgery. And did you say it depends upon your town to town or city to city?
Yeah. The way that it's being rolled out can vary a little bit locally, but there is kind of the prioritization of who gets invited for the vaccine. That's done on a national basis.
Okay, so but it's not something where one is more gets urgent attention or priority or anything like that with diabetes, or it's just a matter of getting your turn.
Yes. So all adults with diabetes are now being invited. Some, initially when the vaccines were rolled out, it was being done by kind of age groups as well. So some older people that have diabetes may have had their vaccine quite a bit sooner than the rest of the adult population living with diabetes. But
Yeah.
now the offer is there for all adults. Yeah.
What about children? Are they also, like, some of the children have diabetes? Do they come in that bracket as well?
At the moment, it's not for the offer's not for children, so it's for anybody 16 years and above. Children at the moment are not being prioritised for rollout.
Yeah, that's fine. So what advice would you actually give to the people who are worried about taking the vaccine? Because there will be some people who wouldn't want to go and get the vaccine, especially when they have spoken to other people, and sometimes you have a bit of a side effect or something like that. We all do, but some people get very worried about getting those.
Yeah, yeah. So my advice really would be that, kind of as we were saying, we do know that the vaccine has been rigorously tested, so we know that it's safe. In terms of side effects, not everybody is going to get side effects, but if you do, they tend to be quite mild, and they might only last for kind of no longer than 48 hours. Things that we've kind of heard about, I think, are like a slightly sore arm, or feeling quite tired, or having sort of aches, that kind of thing, body ache. But as I say, not everybody will get side effects, and they tend to be quite mild. If someone's living with diabetes and they're worried about any effects on their blood glucose levels, they should kind of make sure that they follow their usual sick day rules that they have from their diabetes team, call their GP surgery or their team if they are worried. I suppose the only other thing that I'd like to add is that the vaccine itself is actually it's suitable for halal and kosher. So the ingredients in there, there's no animal products in there. It does contain, my understanding is it does contain a very small amount of alcohol, but it's still suitable for halal and kosher. So it's safe for all of our communities to take. And we've also been advised that you can still get your vaccine during Ramadan. It doesn't constitute breaking your fast if you go and get your vaccine.
That's a very useful information, because obviously there are listeners and viewers who are going to be watching this program, and they are who are from that background, and they do kind of have fast and which has been a very good point that you have pointed that out, so that people are aware. It doesn't not have any animal product in that vaccine. It is okay for kosher and for halal purposes, and also for during fasting, which is great. So you can observe your fast and still have that. So which is, I think, a lot of Asian community, especially from that background, is going to feel a little bit hesitant about it. So even when if the turn comes for them during that time, or if the turn or if they've got that kind of restrictions, which is good to know. Thank you so much for giving us. Is there anything else you would like to tell us, just to wrap it all up for our listeners today, this afternoon?
I think really just to emphasize the point that the invitation will be coming for your vaccine. It's probably the most effective way to protect yourself from severe illness if you have got diabetes. We know that it's safe, and really encourage yourself and your communities to get your vaccine, book your appointment when you're invited.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. It's been great. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. You have given a very useful information.